Good morning. Welcome back. Today's interesting because I had an entire plan of what I wanted to come on, what I wanted to teach today, what I wanted to talk about, really focusing on being able, yes, Cupcake is here with me today. She was whining in the chair behind me, so little puppy things. But I had this entire plan of what I was going to talk about, what I was going to teach today. And if you've been noticing, I'm really focusing on this year, bringing a lot of value, bringing you like tactical, actionable things that you can apply to your business, to your life, to be able to just make this year feel better, to make your life as you continue to succeed, as you continue to grow and rise, feel better. And with that, I really felt this strong pull to just come on and share my truth and be honest with you about a lot of the things that I experienced in the last year, a lot of the lessons that I learned, and kind of what you can expect moving forward, and why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. So I really just want to sit with you and share with you some of the things that I've learned and how I've grown and what's changing and all of that stuff. So if you can just spend these few minutes and set this intention for yourself to just be here, to be present, to take this time for yourself, I promise you that you're going to walk away today with some really great insights. And one of the greatest things that I think is a little bit different about me is the way that I teach, the way that I coach, the way that I mentor, the things that I speak about always come from my own experience. And while this is really beautiful for the people on the receiving end of this, it can be really challenging for me, because what this has created for me is that in order to truly build the success that I have now, I've also had to fail a lot. I've had to make a lot of mistakes. I've had to work through guilt and regrets. And as someone, if you're familiar with my story and where I've come from, it can be challenging to go and almost put yourself in a position, because I have such high expectations for myself, to go and put myself in a position where I feel like I'm not walking the path that was meant for me. So in 2022, I actually started the year by having this beautiful plan of what I was going to do with my business, where I was going, how it was going to look. I launched a program I believe it was the beginning of January, and ended up before the end of my launch completely scrapping that program. And this program was a year-long program. And this was my first lesson in trusting myself at the beginning of the year. And that was so hard for me to do, because I knew that there was value in this program. I knew that obviously people had signed up and people needed this program. And that was something that I did a lot of in 2022, is I would get ideas. I would get excited about these ideas. I would even sometimes put them out in the world and then decide, you know what? Why am I actually doing this? Does this feel good to me? Is this aligned with where I actually want to go? And I think that 2022 for me, honestly, was the year where I was really trying to find myself in this space. So my trajectory in my work has been a lot different than most people. I've been an entrepreneur since 2011. And while the evolution of my business has been very natural, very organic in how it's come about, it also has been a lot of pivots. And even still on this platform now, to where I'm speaking and I'm showing up regularly with my business, there are a lot of people here that originally followed me as a fitness coach. There are a lot of people in my audience that follow me because of my incredible family and my cute kids, and all of that is wonderful. But I became frustrated Truly. I became frustrated. I became frustrated with my trajectory. I became frustrated with this platform. I became frustrated with, my desire for the impact that I want to create in this world, and not feeling like I was getting there quick enough, not feeling like getting frustrated, feeling like I was getting past, watching women who are new to this space, make more money than me or whatever, all of the comparison. And so I spent a lot of 22 kind of waffling back and forth, kind of thinking about, well, okay, this isn't working. Let me try something else. Okay, this isn't working. Let me try something else. Okay, this is working. Let's do more of that. And while I think that's just a part of what business is, I also recognize that part of the reason why I became frustrated was my own doing and me not taking responsibility for my own level of commitment, and still getting lost in the sauce. Truthfully, it's a very interesting time to be running a business, and especially be a woman running a business, because there are so many people in this world now. And while entrepreneurship has grown drastically, it also opens up a lot of doors for more comparison. And what I saw in 2022 was continued, almost like testing is what it felt like. Are you sure, Kelsey? Are you sure that you don't want to just follow this path that somebody else has laid out for you? Are you sure that you don't just want to do exactly what this mentor is doing because it's working for them? Are you sure? And so I played in that energy. I played with hiring mentors that I thought that I wanted to have what they had. And truthfully, what I found in those circumstances was not only was what they created not for me, but the way in which they created it was also not for me. And so while it was very expensive mistakes a couple of times, I learned so much. And what I learned is a few things that I want to share with you. I learned that the more that you focus on what other people are doing, the less impact you are able to make with your story, with your skill set, and with your experience. I think that some of the failures that I saw were completely rooted in my lack of ability to differentiate between where I wanted to go and where somebody else wanted me. And truthfully, I think that that's what it took for me to make the final choice, for me to really sink into what I am, the way that I teach, the way that I go about my business, the way that I've set up my business. What I learned is there's no manual. There's nobody that I know that runs their business or that does the things that I do in the way that I do. And so that became a challenge for me, because I spent most of the year searching for somebody who had that could teach me. And that's one of the most beautiful advantages of mentorship, is letting somebody guide you, making it easier for you, letting somebody hold you and support you through challenges, being able to talk to somebody who has been through similar obstacles to walk you through it. And so I believe that the reason why I had to face so many obstacles and so many challenges, and why that was so frustrating to me, is because honestly, sometimes I feel like, haven't I been through enough? Wasn't my 10 years of darkness enough? And no, it wasn't. There is always going to be lessons for me to learn. There's still going to be hard times in my business and hard times in my life this year, because that's life. And so what I learned is that I will no longer try to eliminate hardship. I will no longer seek solutions that come with the false narrative that problems will no longer occur. And I think that that's one of the things about current marketing in this atmosphere and in the time that we're in is, like I was saying, it's beautiful how much entrepreneurship has grown. It's beautiful that you can show up on this app and talk about your stories and share your experience, and you can make money doing that, and you can create whatever you want. And I believe in that. I believe wholeheartedly in that, and I've done it, and with that, there is a lot of darkness that isn't shown. I watched the coaching industry specifically. I sat in the seat last year of frustration. Like I've mentioned time and time again, that's kind of my word, especially as a human design generator. Frustration is like my shadow. I was so frustrated with the direction of the industry because I knew that it was wrong. I knew that all of these people posting about how much money they were making, and that being the prime mover for people to hire them, was wrong. I watched women making millions of dollars disregard their families, their well-being. One of the mentors I worked with was talking to me about my own habits, and she was like, I can't believe that you work out every day. I haven't worked out in years. Being a mother of one, and I'm a mother of 3, not that that's better than or less than, but I realized in so many little moments that what was being displayed on social media, what was being marketed as this beautiful, luscious, full life, because there was so much money, because the money was leading the message. But behind that was darkness. Behind that was burnout. Behind that was the lack of real presence. Behind that was a lot of help that wasn't being talked about. And so one of my biggest lessons truly in 2022 was I have truly a lot of things that people don't have. And while I may not be talking about making multi-million dollars, what I do have is I have a real strong marriage. I have a real relationship with each of my children. I have a real relationship and connection with myself. I have the ability to take an honest inventory of when I'm out of alignment, call myself on that, and move in a different direction. I have the ability to help women all over the world and help them not just make more money. It's just so surface level. And that was the struggle that I was having, is because I felt like as I was watching it and observing that money was leading the marketing, I felt so stretched in 2 different directions, because I understand the importance of women being wealthy, and it is part of the work that I do to help women make more money. I've never had a client not make more money. That is part of it, but it can't be what we lead with. And so I almost felt like I was shooting myself in the foot sometimes, because I refused to market that way. I refused to let money lead my marketing. I refused to give in to what was actually working for people. And that was hard for me, because I had to sit in that all of last year and watch people display, again, whatever sort of brand appearance they wanted to display, knowing full well that it was out of integrity. There were things that weren't being said. And honestly, if we're talking about just money, when you see someone who is rising monetarily, you don't have any idea about what their life looks like, and or what their bottom line, what their net profit actually is. And so it was a year of realizations for me. It was a year of, let me see, let me try that. That doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel right. Yes, it's like I was having this conversation with myself so many times of, this is what's working for marketing a business in the industry that I'm in, but that doesn't feel right to me. So where do I land? Where do I sit? And what this created was some resistance and some searching for me, in which it's like I had to lean into fully trusting. I had to lean into fully knowing that who I am, the way that I mentor, what my abilities are, the way that I have structured a business in which I am mentoring and coaching, I'm leading retreats, I'm speaking, and I'm also developing a whole nother business. Like, I don't have a user manual. I'm actively creating a user manual so that I can teach other women, so that I can lead from. And that is one of the hardest parts about what I do and the way that I do it, is that I refuse to be somebody that just says something or promotes something or markets a certain way because it seems like the right way. I refuse to sacrifice my integrity and my values and my relationships for the appearance of success. It is not success if you are not present and living the life that you're building. I truly believe that. And now I'm watching the downturn, and now I'm watching the call for peace, the call for how do I meet my ambition, my drive, my commitment to my goals, my business, my legacy, where I want to go, what I want to create. How do I still harness that power in what I am available and capable of doing without sacrificing myself? Because truly, when women come to me, they've played all these games. They've gone all in. They've done the hustle. They've done, and that's part of it. I think that there's so much in our industry and in our world as a whole that is like hustle and flow. It's about balance. This is something, work-life balance is a topic that is like, it will never go out of style, because it is something that we are constantly seeking as ambitious women. It is something that we constantly want to improve. And when you are so tied to consistently improving, when you're not moving, it feels like you're falling behind. And so in 2022, it was a year to where things externally were not moving in the way that I wanted them to. And what that created was so much movement internally for me, so much trust, so much looking in the mirror, so much responsibility taking. And that is the work that is foundational pieces of creating true success. What I can say is I can say that in almost 12 years of entrepreneurship, I've never sacrificed my own well-being. I've never given up on myself. I've never given up on trying to be present, trying to be a better mother, a better partner, a better business owner. My commitment to my craft is priority. And with that, my commitment to myself has to be greater. So 2022 was not what I wanted it to be, but it was everything that I needed it to be. And so there's got to be times in your life where you felt this, to where you don't know when you're in it. You don't know why you're facing what you're facing. You don't know why it feels so heavy, why you're seems like you have to learn the same lesson over and over again. But what you do know is that there's another side. And so what I want you to take from this today is a reminder of the importance of commitment, a reminder of the importance of seeing things through and always coming back to yourself. There will always be things to distract you. There will always be things and shiny new ideas and people and things people say and things people do that can pull you one direction or another. And while I think it's important for us to always have a mentor and a person that we trust and guidance and somebody in our corner, it is equally as important that when you are choosing mentors, when you are intaking any sort of knowledge, expertise, or information, that you are also not letting that information pull you away from yourself. The most powerful relationship that you can have in your life is the one with yourself. If something doesn't feel good in your business or your life, it's time to change it. It's time to follow a different path. It's time to create a new path. And a lot of women that I work with, that's the discomfort that we face, is that when you are a change maker, when you are a trailblazer, it seems beautiful. It seems so powerful that you can lead a movement, that you can do things differently, that you can see there's a better way to do this. But there is so much discomfort in that. And that is what I've been feeling. That was my biggest lesson, is that I can sit in discomfort. I can sit in the gap. I can sit in places to where it feels like things aren't working. I can understand and know that there's always waves. And with that, I also can stay in and connected to my power. That no matter what is happening outside of me, externally, in the business, in my life, what I'm walking through, the stress, the overwhelm, the responsibilities, everything that comes with everything that I've created, I always have the power in how I navigate that, how I respond to it. And this is the important work. I've done so much work on myself in the last year. And for that, I am incredibly grateful. And I'm so thankful that I get to be somebody who is committed to the work on myself so that I can be a better leader. So that I'm not leading from a place of I've done it all, so now let me teach you. It's I've done it all and I'm continuing to do it all and I'm continuing to learn, and everything is an overflow of lessons. There were so many different things and so many different places that I was in 2022 that I didn't want to be in. And now in 2023, I see this is why. What was being shaped was my ability and my capacity to be able to handle and navigate even deeper level of communication, and even deeper level of care. And so even though it's easy to focus on everything that's happening external, it's easy to focus on our responsibilities in our business, check all the boxes, make sure that we're being everything to everybody else. If you are not paying attention to you, if you aren't paying attention to what you want to create in this world, if you are getting lost in the busyness that is life and business and motherhood and all of these things combined, you are not actively working towards the potential that you have for yourself. It was a hard pill for me to swallow, to take responsibility and realize that I was limiting myself by trying to follow a path that had already been laid. And instead, I had to come back to myself, because every single time that I start on my own path, I know that it's the right path. I know that it's going to be challenging because there is no roadmap and that I'm supposed to create that roadmap. It is tempting. There's so much temptation to say, can't I just do it how somebody else has done it? Wouldn't that be easier? But truthfully, the long-term benefit will always outweigh the short-term gain. And so in your life and in your business this year, I want you to really ask yourself, am I prioritizing my own well-being? Am I taking a look at the actions that I'm taking day in and day out and seeing how they're contributing to the bigger picture? Am I actively working towards the goals that I've set for myself? Are the goals that I'm setting for myself and for the business actively what I want? Or am I building this because it's what I think I should do? Am I building this because somebody told me that I should? I'm so excited for all of the women that are coming into my new private mentorship. This is such an incredible opportunity for these women because there's nothing like it. And when you can have somebody who is willing to celebrate with you when you're hitting the highs, but also walk with you when you're in the lows, it is one of the greatest partnerships, because there's a lot of people that can do one or the other. There's a lot of people that can help you to strategically grow your business. There's a lot of people that can just spit out steps for growth. But what's not being accounted for is, are those steps aligned with you? Are those steps going to work for your life? Are those steps going to require you to sacrifice something that you're unwilling to sacrifice? Are those steps going to require a version of you that's not there yet? Are you actively going to be able to execute on the things that you want to build? There's a lot of people that can give you steps. And most of you will pay a lot of money to give you steps. And strategy and steps are absolutely a part of the growth process. We need to know how and where and what. But most importantly, we need to know who. We need to know who we need to be when we show up to take that step. And so if we're not addressing both sides of this, if we are, I watch so many people throw their money at programs that aren't going to actually help them. And that breaks my heart. Because at the end of the day, the core of my work is in creating more happiness. It is creating a better life. And whatever is necessary for your happiness. And for the women that I work with specifically, you're in these high leadership roles. You have teams. You're running a business. You're running a company. And so with that, there's so much responsibility. It's easy to put yourself on the back burner. It's easy to not consider what you actually want. It's easy to show up and to check the boxes. It's easy to do that day in and day out and convince yourself that you're getting closer to a goal. It's easy to see the data that's showing you externally that you're succeeding. The majority of the women that I work with are earning. Revenue is not the issue. Fulfillment, happiness, presence, peace. Those are the issues. You can be a business owner, you can be a high-powered, ambitious-driven woman and not sacrifice your peace. Not sacrifice yourself mentally or physically. And that's why the way that I teach is uncommon, but it's necessary. It's necessary to have somebody who can do both with you. One of the most beautiful things is in my conversations with clients, we will go so naturally from a conversation in which we're talking about strategic plans of growth, how to optimize certain things in the business, how to become more efficient, how to make more time, who are we hiring next? How are we growing? How are we scaling? And we have these steps and we're laying out these steps. And then that naturally moves into a conversation about who they need to be to complete these steps, who they need to be to execute on these steps, what needs to take place in order to have the space mentally, physically to complete these steps. Most high-powered women are making lots of money, completing lots of things, making lots of connections, taking all the steps. But what they're not considering is pouring back into themselves so they can continue to excel. If there is not a continued pour into, there cannot be a continued pour out of. So that's what I want you to consider today. Where are you in your business? Where do you want to be? Where are you in your life? Where do you want to be? And not just setting goals for where you want to be, but also considering who you need to be to take those steps. What sort of support do you need in your corner? It's one thing to have somebody who's like, rah, rah, let's go, I'm your biggest cheerleader. I love being that person. What's harder is being the person who can hold up a mirror, who can say, I can see this and I can see this for you, but you're actively being held back by the mindset, by the beliefs that you're holding, and being willing to go into that with you. The opportunity for private mentorship with me is not a regular coaching relationship. It is not, let's show up on calls and chat about some things and then you just go do some steps. It is a life-changing transformation that will drastically increase your efficiency, your happiness, and your success. Your revenue doesn't matter if your life doesn't feel good. It's about intentionally choosing both. Everybody wants to scale. Everybody wants to make more money. Women making lots of money is important for our world. What's equally as important is us having the capacity to be the women in leadership that we are meant to be. You are not serving anybody else if you are not serving yourself. Your path is going to be different. And what's necessary is to have somebody in your corner that can hold you accountable to the potential that you have. Not make you a carbon copy of them. Because their plan won't work for you. Their roadmap won't work for you. The coaching industry has created this false marketing that you can buy this program, learn the steps, apply it, and become a replica of them. That's not how it works. You need personalized attention. Private mentorship with me begins with us together. I'm literally flying to where you are so that we can sit and we can have a conversation and we can spend time together so that I know exactly what is going on in your business, in your life, in your relationships, a full holistic view at everything so we can see what needs to be changed, what needs to be shifted. And then we're coming together twice a month. You have unlimited between call access Monday through Thursday, where you can pop in for support, for accountability, for questions, where we make sure that you are either sitting in that discomfort to move forward or actively acting and implementing on the things that are going to actually grow the business and change your life. And then you also get to meet 10 new best friends at one of my retreats. It is a year of fulfillment, personal growth, professional growth, in which you can finally learn how to create your own roadmap, create your own trail, create the legacy that you want to create, say goodbye to the things that are no longer serving you, because that's hard. And we need accountability in that. That's why so many of my women have been stuck where they are for so long, because they're smart. They know the things they need to do, but putting them in place is completely different. Putting them in place and actually holding when you set those things is hard. And that's why you need support. So let 2023 be the year that you are supported differently, because with a different action comes a different result. With commitment to continued success without the sacrifice. Asking the question of, how can I? How can I continue to move forward, continue to grow and scale the business and add what feels like addition when I have no space left? How can I take care of myself? How can I lead this business? You're not actively leading your business in the best way possible. You are not being the leader, the mother, the partner that you could be when you are burnt out, tired, exhausted, and running yourself into the ground, period. And so it's so important that you prioritize your well-being. What would change in your life, in your business, if you flipped the direction that you're currently in to where you show up to your own business and let your business run you, and instead you start to run your business like the leader that you are by actively contributing to your potential, by actively pouring into yourself. Your perspective will change, your business will change, your relationships will change, your communication will change, how you show up, how you walk into a room, how you have conversations, what you ask for. All of this will change when you flip this, but flipping it is not going to come by yourself. It is incredibly hard to make a change. Change is not what our brains want. And that is why accountability is one of the most important things about having a mentor. You can say you want to do something different all day, but can you hold yourself to it? This is why people waffle back and forth. I'm so thankful for the lessons that I learned in 2022. I'm so thankful for 11 years in entrepreneurship that I've learned. So just the lessons will continue to come. But this year is different because this year is the year that the women coming into my space are going to get something that is newer, that is higher, that is a completely different level of care, that is a full holistic perspective change that will drastically change the direction of your life and your business forever, truly. And one of the things that I even did is I added a money back guarantee to my mentorship. I don't know anybody that does that. But because I know how good this work is, how important this work is, I know what it will create for you. But the hardest part is that you have to stop telling yourself that you can figure it out by yourself. You have to stop telling yourself that the money, the investment would be well spent somewhere else. You would pay for development for your children, for your partner, for your team any day of the week if they asked you for it. But let me remind you of this. You are a piece of that. You are leading your team. And so if you don't pour into yourself, if you are not getting the help and the support that you need, you are taking away from your team. You are taking away from your family. The truth is that you can't be who you are meant to be if you are constantly drowning. If you are constantly feeling so stretched thin that all you can do is put one foot in front of the other. And that's why it has to be different. It has to change. But you have the power to make that change. The only thing that happens is you force yourself to think, I can figure this out. I can't tell you how many conversations that I've had with women that are like, yeah, I'm feeling better this week. I started taking vitamins, started, walking in the mornings. I journaled. And then a week later, they're back where they were. This is why support matters. This is a process. This is a proven process that I lead women through. So if you want to elevate your business in the way of communications, work culture, efficiency, optimizing for growth, and you also want to be a better mother, be a better partner, be more present, have less guilt, be able to be present with the people that you love, be able to actively step away without feeling like you're drowning, not constantly think about work, be able to delegate efficiently, be able to ask for help, be able to be more organized in your personal life, then you need my private mentorship. If this is something that you've been thinking about, if this is something that you realize, I've worked with other coaches in the industry, or I've never had a mentor, but I've been thinking about it for a long period of time, I really cannot stress the importance of having somebody who can see and identify your gaps personally and professionally, because they are linked. How you show up in your business is directly connected to who you are and what's happening at home. So it has to be both. It has to be both. We will never have a conversation about a step for you to take in your business in which we don't have a conversation about how you need to communicate better, what you need to ask for, a conversation that you need to have. This is the real work. And part of my work was committing to, this is my gift. I tried to force myself into a box of being a business coach. And the way that I framed business coaching was focused on the business, talking about only business related things. But my brain and my heart was like, no, Kelsey, that's not how it works. The growth of your business, the growth of your business is dependent on the growth of you. I know this. And my word for 2023 is commitment. And it's not about commitment in the way of discipline, because we all know that I take care of myself. It's about commitment to not wavering or not waffling, not dimming my own light for my abilities, for what I'm really capable of doing. So once again, please understand that your personal and your professional growth are actively linked, and that if you want a mentor who deeply cares about your well-being and the growth of your business, we can have a conversation about what that can look like for you. I would love to hear what you're struggling with, what you really know that you need but aren't giving yourself, the potential that you see for the business, but it feels like you can't do that because it's just too busy and you can't even focus on like strategic plans for greater growth because you're constantly just trying to focus on the day ahead. I understand these scenarios. So I hope this has been helpful for you today. I hope it's given you something to think about. I would love for you to DM me on Instagram and tell me kind of what are your goals for 2023? What are you going to do differently? And how are you going to show up for growth differently? So once again, thanks for being here and thanks for listening. And I will talk to you soon.